So I had my eyes on the Razer Kishi ever since it came out, but I could never really just pull the trigger because $100 just seemed like a bit much for what it was. But now it's on sale for $44 at Best Buy, so I went ahead and picked it up. Now, I can say now that I've owned it for about a week now that if I had bought it at $100, I would have returned it the next day. So let's go ahead and get into it. So my main issue with the Kishi is that it lacks compatibility with some of the biggest FPS titles that are on mobile right now, which is Apex Legends and COD Mobile. Does not work with either one of those games. There is a workaround for Apex Legends, but it requires you to have a entirely separate Xbox or PlayStation controller, and you have to connect it to your phone and leave it connected while you use the Kishi to play the game. All throughout this time, if the controller that you have connected turns off because of inactivity, the Kishi will stop working as well. So it kind of loses its portability and its effectiveness just in general if you can't use it by itself and maintain that portable form factor that you bought it for. Now, I don't really know if that same workaround works for Call of Duty, but I would not be trying it because, like I said, it's just it kind of defeats the entire purpose. The reason I tried it with Apex Legends is because I really wanted to try that game on the mobile platform. So I don't even know if this is honestly the Kishi's fault, but it does not pass through charge with the Moto G Stylus 2022. It does work, however, with the S22, so I'm thinking it's just a phone thing, but it's kind of weird how pass through just doesn't work at all on this phone. If you're in this same boat, I know I saw forums online. I did a bunch of searching trying to figure out exactly what was going on, and I saw a bunch of people having this issue. Another one of the communities is the OnePlus community. People were just saying that it wasn't working as well. Now, you can get the pass-through to work by changing the USB controller options from the device to the phone, and you can get the option to charge your phone while the controller is connected, but you lose the ability to use the controller, which just defeats the purpose. You might as well just pull it off the charger or pull it out of the Kishi and plug it into the charger by itself, because on top of all of that, it does not fast charge through. So if your phone has fast charging, it does not fast charge through pass-through. I'm not an expert on how pass-through works, but why does it not fast charge, and why am I having these issues? Again, this issue specifically may just be due to certain phones and how they operate. My phone specifically is using a pretty close to stock version of Android 12, and it just doesn't work at all. But the S22 or the S22 Plus uses One UI and Android 12 as well, and it works perfectly fine. Again, no fast charge there, even when both of them are working, but it does work, so that's, an upside. Other than those two things that I mentioned, I'm really having no issues at all. It fits absolutely great, and the Moto G Stylus is like a 6.8-inch phone with like some bigger bezels than typical, like a typical Samsung phone, and it fits perfectly fine even with that size. Like, it's a bit snug at the end, but I don't have to pull any rubber off or anything like that like I saw people do with the Pixel 6 Pro, and it feels absolutely great, especially when it's extended fully like with the Moto G Stylus, because it just gives it more of a robust feel and it's less likely to bend or anything like that. I will say that the D-pad and the ABXY buttons are a little bit like mushy at the end. They're not very tactile, but it does work, and it's not really a big deal for something this niche, especially it's better than using the touchscreen. I'll say that. Also, it has no discernible lag whenever I'm using it. It feels way better than if I use if I have a controller connected via Bluetooth. There's like a little bit, I feel like there's a little bit of latency, especially when I'm using like Game Pass Cloud Gaming or GeForce Now, but it seems to work perfectly fine, and I would say even better than a Bluetooth controller in this instance. And the last thing I wanted to just talk about and just touch on a little bit is the Razer Kishi app. It's a little bare bones app. It's mostly just for looking, in my case, it's just for like updating the firmware, which for some reason when I click check update does not tell me if I'm on the latest firmware. Google search can't tell what the latest firmware version is, so I don't know if the version that I have is the latest, and I don't know if it's checking or if there's a glitch with the app, because nothing happens when I press the button. Every other button works on the screen except for the check for firmware update button, but I don't know if a firmware update may have fixed the issue with the pass-through or may, increase compatibility with other games, but there's just no way to find out at all. But also in this app is a list of compatible games that link you straight to the Play Store once you click on it. But you can go through this list by genre and you can kind of select the game and it'll just bring you to the Play Store so that you may just download those games that are known to be compatible. Now, I tried 2 or 3 games, but I feel like throughout this, even when I clicked on the genre of games that I wanted to play, there wasn't... I spent more time scrolling than I did actually downloading anything. And why is there no FPS genre? I just have to go into action, which I feel like encompasses a lot more than just FPS games. Like, I just want to specifically look at first-person shooters. I will say that this does work very well with emulation. I've been using it on Aether. I think it's Aether SX2, something like that. It's a PS2 emulator that's on the store. It works perfectly fine. Even the software, when you go in to the emulator software to set up a controller, it actually detects the Razer Kishi as the Razer Kishi, so the name will actually pop up. And it's like 1-to-1. Like, there's no issues at all doing PlayStation emulation. I played some San Andreas. I played Mortal Kombat. I also played Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi EG3. And I also played Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 5. Maybe it's not Ultimate Ninja Storm. That's like the newer version. Naruto Ultimate Ninja, I think it is, for PS2. But whatever the case may be, it works perfectly fine with emulation. I'm going to try it with some other emulators, maybe like a Nintendo 64 emulator or something like that in the future, and kind of see how that goes. But all in all, I would say the controller is a bit of a mixed bag. If those 2 specific things that I brought up, like if you want to buy a controller specifically to play Apex Legends Mobile or COD Mobile, just know that it does not work. And I can't find any sort of way to figure out what is or is not compatible if you don't already have a Kishi to just test it out or do a bunch of searching to see if it works. But I'm letting you guys know that it doesn't work with those 2 titles for sure. And despite those, I'm going to keep it with its $44 price tag. I may end up buying a GameSir controller to use, and I may end up comparing those 2 if I do end up getting that. But that is the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below. If you have any questions, make sure you comment those. I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Take it easy.